In a world full of noise, two giants decide to speak. Devin Dubuc, 6'4", John Hinks Jr., 6'8". Standing tall, thinking bigger. Real stories, real strategy. No fluff, no filter. From the trenches to the top, this is where mortgage pros come to grow. Because when giants talk, you listen. Listen up. We're back in action, brother. What's going on, John?
Devin, what's up, my man? How are you, bud?
Brother, I am living the life. We just got back from the Bahamas. What a great time that was.
We did, man. We did. We got to hang out together in the Bahamas.
I love it, man. You know, we didn't get a chance to shoot that podcast we'd hoped for, but I don't know that there was time for it.
I don't know. After a few, it was appropriate. Yeah. I did enjoy standing in the ocean with you in the 6 foot water while everybody else was away from us.
Well, I think I made reference of you being a buoy out right there, not to swim past John. Good stuff, man. Well, I know today we've got an agenda, and I think we should stick to that, because people came for what they wanted to hear, and that's the brand strategy loan officers can't ignore. And John, we've kind of touched on this in the past, but at the same time, I think there's more to say on this. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think so many loan officers are struggling to stand out right now?
Because their identity is being a loan officer. Yeah, I think that's the big thing right now is they're taking, and there's nothing wrong with taking pride in being a great loan officer. At this day and age, after the last 4 years, if you're still in the game, you're a good loan officer.
Amen.
You know what I mean? But I think there has to be more than just that. I think you have to be more than just a loan officer. You have to be more to other people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, and I think you've already kind of touched on this, but how do you think you would define a brand in today's market as a loan officer?
You're the brand, in my opinion. What you believe in, what your values are, who you are is a brand. Yeah. And what you like doing in the business. If you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So it's just, I think, in my opinion, it's important to tell people that you have a specialty niche and so forth, and this is what you love doing, but it opens doors to other opportunities as well and other loans. But people need to know who you are.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say is your brand should be what people say about you before they ever hear you speak.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's better.
Well,
that's better.
Yeah, well, and let's talk about that, man, because we'll talk about your brand. What I know just by looking at your brand before I get to know, number one, I know that you love rugby, right? Like you're born and bred. I know you're a family man. You care about your kids. You're out there doing the daddy-daughter dances of the world, right?
That's right.
And I know you're fun. You like to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
And you share that. You celebrate it. And so what I know getting into the life of John is that I'm going to have a good time. I might listen to some jam band music, hang out with the family. And, maybe tie one on in the evening time when the timing permits, right?
You know me so well. It's funny how you're very similar family. I had the pleasure of getting to watch you with your kids last weekend, and it made my heart sore. And one thing I learned about you is in person you are very calm and very you level the room out, if that makes sense. And so if you're in a high anxiety place hanging next to Devin, you just kind of chill out a little bit. So I've learned that a little bit about you, That I thought that was really cool to watch your kids too. Just were all the other, I'm not comparing, but let's be very clear. But your kids were just very, you know what I mean? It was kind of cool to see that. And that's because they were around you, Amen. That's cool.
Well, that's it, man. You know, we've got to, you know, we have my high energy when I need it, right?
Mhm. Yep.
But
Yep.
man, you're right. You nailed me, man. I love or nailed it. I love to chill. Like I love to just
Yep.
be on a smooth, chill vibe and just, you know,
Mhm.
enjoy the ride, man, and enjoy it. I talk about it all the time. You know, we're here for a short period of time and we've got to enjoy that while we're here. And that's what your brand should say about you is who you are, right? It doesn't mean you're calm and chill. Well, whoever you are, that's who you should show up as. And there's reasons for that. And that's one of the things I want to talk about is, do you believe, John, that brand is more important than it was, say, 5 or 10 years ago?
100%. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, it's so important now. The rule of attraction is more important than it's ever been in our business.
Yeah.
You've got to be your authentic self. You got to get out there. You got to let people know who you are, because that's how people find out is they want to, you know, they're picking and choosing now.
Yeah.
You know, because they want, first of all, they want to make sure they're talking to a real person.
That's it. Authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this BS? Is this just somebody trying to sell me something? Because I got plenty of those people in my life, right?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't tell the story. You've got a partner in crime on the real estate side. Zeddy told the story, but I'd love for you to share the story about some of the agents in her office who weren't relating to you until they might have seen a fun, playful video that you put out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, a lot of the agents in her office are younger than I am, right? And so when I walk into a room, and I guess I don't think of myself this way, but when I walk into a room, I was, you know, when you ask the question how important it is now to be yourself compared to was it 5 years, I was still living 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? And one of the things about this business I wasn't crazy about was I wasn't being myself. I wasn't being, you know, I thought I was being what they wanted me to be, right? And so Zeddy kind of helped me get out of my comfort zone in that regard. And we would do silly little socials and stuff. And these younger agents, these, you know, 30 somethings or whatever, they would like, oh, he's actually fun. And then, oh, he actually tells bad dad jokes or whatever, you know, and then the more I started to do that, the more I started coming out of my shell. And then all of a sudden it became like a law of attraction. They all wanted to work with me on that part of it. Like, because they knew when they picked up the phone, they were working with someone that does the silly stuff or acts the silly way. So they didn't feel nervous picking up the phone. So she would make me do the different videos and step out my comfort zone, but it really wasn't stepping out of my comfort zone. It was stepping back into my comfort zone because for so long I had been not being who I wanted. That is there's your clip right there.
That's a mic drop moment.
I just realized that.
Like, there should be an bomb explosion in the background because you're 100% right.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know, you talk about stepping out of your comfort zone into your comfort zone. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because sometimes what we think is something we're not comfortable with. It really is exactly what we are comfortable with. It just took us some time to realize it, you know. But at the same time, what you basically just said was I wasn't being true and honest about who I was because I was showing up as what I thought people wanted to see. But when I recognized that people really just wanted to know me and who I really was, and I started showing up that way, the law of attraction happened and more people started coming my direction that I probably wouldn't have connected with had I not just been myself.
And the more fun I started to have.
Woo! I love that you said that, you know, because we got the pleasure of seeing Neil Dingra speak, you know, a couple months back at the MortgageCon event. And, you know, that was one of the things that he talked about about how he was facing a lot of burnout at one point in his career because he was just out there trying to find these relationships and chase.
Yeah.
And then he realized that when he opened up his brand and started coming as who he really was, he stopped chasing, he started attracting, and he actually was able to give more time back to his family, which equates to more fun, right? Like more fun in his life. And it's funny how that works because so often we think the thing we should be doing is exactly the opposite of what we should be doing. And as a result, it's dragging us into this ticking time bomb of a mess, which is being somebody we're not, hating the industry that we're in, and not getting any traction, where if we just change that and became who we are, we're going to start attracting people and actually start gaining the traction that we've been losing.
Right. Yeah. You know, he calls it escape the middle, and in Cageless I call it escape the cage. Kind of cool that we're both using the word escape. You know. Yeah, but I'm excited for his message, because Neil's really talking about, you know, when you put yourself out there, do it in a way where you feel like it's you, and you're going out there. And there's another folks. Luke, I think, was the one was talking about, like, you know,
yeah,
the old adage of like, you know, we're not going to get replaced by AI. We're going to get replaced by people that use AI. And he went one step further. He says, I don't even think that's real anymore either. I think we're going to be replaced by the people that are actually real in who they are. AI is just their tool. And we all have, as loan officers, have to put ourselves out there in a way, just like agents do on a regular basis, who they are, and they put their life out there, but they're going to have to adapt their game as well. It's not enough anymore to do those things. It's not enough to be an agent. It's not enough to be a loan officer. You have to be more than that. You have to find that population that relates to you and who you are, and you got to show them. You have to show them. That's going to be the new world, and for what we're doing.
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, and I want to set the stage before we ask this question, because a lot of people, when they say, hey, I've got a brand, and you go look at their page, what you see is generic post after generic post after generic post. It's all mortgage related. It's about a product that they're offering, or it's about a client closing that they did, right? And it's a billboard. It's a billboard for the company. And, you know, last time that, you know, I looked, people aren't going to social media for billboards, right? They're going there to have some fun. They're going there for an escape, and they want to communicate and talk to the people that, you know, that they can relate to. And nobody's relating to a billboard, right? So if that is your brand right now, if you're listening to this call right now and you're going, guilty, that's what my Instagram and Facebook and TikTok look like, right? Probably not TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook. That's not a good brand. It's not the image that you want to be projecting out there. So this is where I'm going to lead into the next question. If somebody has zero real brand right now, and that is zero real brand, where should they start? Like, where do they start this process?
We talked about it in the last thing. You actually, I feel like interviewing the people that are closest to you and letting them tell you what your brand is.
Yeah.
You know, we use words like, you know, I'm honest, I'm transparent, I communicate well, all those different things. But I hope you're honest, and I hope you're transparent, and I hope you communicate. Those are all very important tools in order for us to do what we're supposed to do.
Those are the
standards. But I think I described your brand earlier as you're very calm and collective. And if I have to tell Devin bad news, I don't feel like I'm going to get my head chopped off. You're not intense, I guess is my best way to put it. And for me, I'm the same way. Like, I think if people talk to me about, you know, I want to make them feel like I got their back.
Yeah.
You know, that's a brand. You know, like I want that guy in my corner.
That's right.
And I think you have to talk to your friends to let them know who you are, and then go one step further. Find out 5 things about you that they know about you that you may not even realize.
Yeah.
Varn Sill was a lady that one of an agent that we knew that did this exercise, and she had no idea who she was. She thought she was a mom and a real estate agent, and then right there and then in a Cageless workshop, everybody went like, excuse me, you love dancing, you are a veteran, you know, they just started naming all of these different things.
Yeah.
And she was just kind of like, it was almost an emotional moment for her. She was like, oh, y'all know that about me or think that about me? And we're like, yeah, like that's who you are, you know, so lean into those things.
Yeah.
So we came up with different ways to lean into her loving dancing or her loving traveling or the fact that she's a veteran. I mean, that's just huge things in branding as to who you are as a person.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. So let's say that I love dancing. I don't. But let's say that that's what it is. And I want to incorporate that into my brand.
Okay.
How do I go about doing that, John?
Wow, that's a great question. So what you want is you want the world to know that when they see any type of dancing, they think of you.
Mm.
Okay. So, one, do a personal invite. Wednesday night at Casa Linda Mexican restaurant, they shut this place down at 9 o'clock and they teach salsa classes for 2.5 hours. First round's on me. Come do some salsa classes with me. See who shows up. Do it in a consistent manner for maybe about, I don't know, 6, 7 weeks straight. And I guarantee you, anytime someone eats salsa, hears the word salsa, or hears any type of salsa music, they're going to think of Devin because he's out there salsaing.
That's
right.
It.
And so they know that now. They also happen to know that you're a loan officer, right? Other ways you can incorporate maybe some dancing would be if you're doing,
dancing.
You
know, I got a guy, John, you know, and I don't mean to break because you're doing great, man. What a great piece of advice. But I got a guy that I know of here locally, and I know he loves to dance because he literally does it on his videos, but he does it in a really cool way, right? Like a lot of times he incorporates his wife, who's also a real estate agent, in the videos where they're dancing together, right? And they're just like, you know, hey, don't you want to work with the, you know, not don't you want to work with, but like, you know, this is how we're going to dance you to the closing table, you know, and they're out there salsa dancing together, right? Which, like I said, I don't dance, which is why I look ridiculous doing it. But at the end of the day,
I doubt it, but we're all self-conscious about ourselves. But,
I'll do it. Don't get me wrong. I will do it. I just am terrible.
Well, you have to like doing it though. That's the thing. You have to like doing it. But that's a great example though, to be able to do that. We had an agent here in town. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. He passed away. But every closing he did, he sang a song to his clients and he put it on social media. And in just about every single closing that you would watch him sing, everybody was in tears just listening to him sing because he was an amazing singer. And I always thought that was really powerful. So whenever I thought of him singing, and whenever I thought of singing, and I thought of real estate, I thought of him, you know, and he was an unbelievable singer. He was very good voice. And he always sang Hallelujah, that song. And that might have been because the process was a pain in the ass or something like that, you know, but he did Hallelujah, you know, but he did it and it was really cool. But he was known for that. And if you knew that you were doing a deal with him, you were going to get a song at closing. I always thought that was really cool. That was his nice little touch.
That's pretty killer, man.
It was cool.
Yeah. We got a guy out here that, you know, I don't know that it is branding, but he's known for giving out LV purses.
Really?
Yep. You buy a home with him and you're going to get some sort of LV luxury item right now. Obviously he's got it tiered based upon, you know, the size of the home that you purchase, the spending limit on what you're going to get from LV. But then what he's doing is he's posting, you know, the luxury items online. Now let's talk about that because, you know, some people could say, well, you know, that's not really a brand, but he's a luxury agent. That is a brand for him. The clients that he represents, they love brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, right? And Cartier. And he's talking to the people that he relates to. And what's really cool about that, you know, is that let's talk through that. Some people don't feel like they have the ability to afford the Louis V or the Gucci or the Cartier items. And by doing business with him, they get to live a little taste of luxury in their life that they don't get to have on a normal basis. So it is a brand.
It's a brand. That's and an attainable brand, basically, because he's doing those things for people, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. I think that's a pretty cool little niche, to be honest with you.
It's a cool niche, and more importantly, like when you look at this production, the guy's crushing it out of the water, right?
Well, I mean, I want an LV or whatever it is. So she's a good friend of mine. She and I work together, but she's a real estate agent. And when she closes a loan or when closes a deal with someone, she obviously gets permission first, but she usually gets a rescue animal for your house. So she'll bring like a cat. And one time she told me she got 3 goats for someone to put in their backyard. And the guy's got goats in his backyard. I'm just like, that is one. So every time I think of wild animal, rescue animals in a closing gift, but that's what she does, man. It's pretty crazy. I think too, that brand is how you make people feel,
It
you
is.
know, and I think that's super important, how you make people feel. And that's something people remember because, you know, emotion is something people remember. Telling someone I know everything about FHA does not give you any emotion. It just maybe some confidence that you're going to do a good job for me. But I think you have to have that emotional connection for folks when
We
you're
talk about strategy, right? Like a strategy,
Mhm.
like, you know, hey, I had a consumer that came to me recently and this is something they were struggling with.
Mhm.
And this is how I solved the problem for them, right? Now, we don't want to talk about the specific guidelines that did it, just this is how we solved the problem for them. And it was something that a lot of people don't think about. And if this is a scenario that you've run into or you feel like you just don't qualify, you know, reach out to me or DM me this, and I'd love to help show you the strategy, right? Like that's one way you can do that in a really cool way and still talk about product. But that's something that you have to do in between all the other stuff, you know, that we're talking about here, right? So do some silly dances if you love to dance, right?
Mhm.
Go get some rescue animals and talk about your passion for saving animals and, you know, and repurposing rehoming them.
Rehoming them to give them purpose.
To give them purpose. Thank you, John, for the recovery. My man with the assist. You know, but these are the things that you've got to be doing. And if you don't love to dance, don't dance, by the way. Let's talk like don't
Hey, remember the 3 rules, man. If you're good at it, you like doing it, and it creates relationships. It's got to pass that filter.
Well, and
You
then
know?
I think there's some more with that too. You need to stay consistent, right?
Yep.
Have some sort of consistent strategy on how you're going to deliver your brand. And that doesn't mean that it has to be every single day, right? A lot of people get stressed or frustrated thinking about that because they're like, I've got to post something today. You know, if you can do something 3 to 4 times a week, that's ideal, right? But the way you can do that too is you can plan it all out. You know, a lot of the great content creators that I know right now, they'll video it all. Some of them do the entire month in one shoot, right? But a lot of them just do it at the end of the week. So they'll take a Friday or a Saturday and they'll put their content together so that they have it ready to distribute. And then you can even plan those things to go out on social where it automatically posts. So if you're somebody that says, man, I'm not going to do this because I just can't focus on it daily. Well, don't do it daily. Do it once and then plan it out. And if you're more impromptu and you're not the kind of person that's going to do that, use the stories, right? Stories on Instagram and Facebook are so simple. You know, one of the things that I did, John, and I think you know this because you saw a lot of it when we were on the trip, is I was just consistently posting just a little clip of something that me and the kids were doing when we were gone. I get more engagement on those things than most of the posts or reels.
Well, you do actually because they pop up on the top. They get more views because your posts will just keep on going down, down, down. Now your little stories only stay there for 24 hours.
Yep.
But I'm pretty much guaranteed to see it. You know,
you're going to see it. Yeah, because the algorithm has to say John and Devin know each other, they communicate, and we think you'll like this. Or John tends to like videos like this, and this video would be something I think he would like, and they're going to place that in front of him. But with the stories run right across the top of your feed. And so people are typically going to see that more often. And if they're engaging with you, then they'll start to see your posts and reels. But more importantly, and I think this is a really important one when you're building your brand, is it can't be a one-way street. You can't just expect for people to find you to see your content. You need to be outreaching to them, looking at what they're doing and interacting with them. I just had the pleasure of having Michelle Michael on the show a couple of weeks ago. We saw her speak very briefly at MortgageCon. And what she talked about was where the big mistake a lot of people make with social media is they just post, but they have literally no engagement either with the people that are responding, or they're not actually creating their own engagement by outreaching to the people that they want to communicate or connect with, right? And so let's just talk strategy for loan officers. If I'm a loan officer and the people I want to connect with are real estate agents, financial planners, and divorce attorneys, pick one, pick all 3, whatever you like, right? And that's what we want. The first thing that you want to do is target the audience of who you want to talk to. The second thing you want to do is you want to go in and request friends to be with all those people. right? Literally just go in and friend request every single person that you have interest in connecting with. That doesn't mean be blind about it. Take the time to get to know who they are and make sure they're people you want to connect with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you can start posting things on your page consistently, things that you love to do, right?
Yeah.
To let them know who you are, what you're about, and how you want to, how you want to be seen. Which should be who you are, right? Publicly, and then slide into the DMs, make some comments about things that they're doing, start some engagement with them, and be direct in your DM. Hey, I've been enjoying the content that you've been putting out. I would love to catch up because I think we have a lot in common. Would you be open to meeting for coffee next week? Question mark. And now you can turn your brand into a strategy to create communication that can actually relate in potential business opportunity.
It's that simple, isn't it?
That's it.
I mean, they're putting their lives out there. They want someone to comment on it. You know what everybody's favorite subject is? Themselves. You know, but they're putting their life out there. They're on vacation, and for you to say, "Man, that vacation looks amazing," or when my reels started getting bigger and my stories started getting bigger, I was getting people commenting on it or liking it or something like that, and that I hadn't expected to ever see it, and I simply just direct messaged them and just said, "Hey, man, thanks for acknowledging that. That was really cool. It's good to see you. Or good to see you come across my page or whatever." "Oh yeah, awesome." Then you like theirs and they're like, "Hey, you ever want to go grab a coffee or go get some lunch or whatever it is?" Or even better, one up the brand. Hey, you want to go salsa dancing? Like that.
Well, I saw you posted, out dancing, at the club last weekend. And you know what? I love to dance too. We should get our couples together if we're couples, right?
Exactly.
Let's go together. Let's go do it together. This would be a lot of fun. Or put together some engagements where, hey, let's get some other friends together and start building your circles and community. One of the things that I always coach, and it's so silly, but it works, right? Is, once you start engaging with people and having a line of communication, through the likes and the comments, when you go in for that first DM, it could be as simple as, "Hey, I don't know exactly why, but apparently Facebook thinks we should know each other.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I'd love to catch up for coffee this week. Yeah. It looks like we got a lot in common." Yeah. Right. And it's such a simple way to do an initial engagement, and it feels supernatural, right? Like it feels supernatural. It's not uncomfortable. And if you're being honest, if you do really like their content, right? They do look like somebody that you want to be hanging out with, then it works. Now, I'll tell you where it doesn't work, John. Is if you don't like their content.
Then you're going back to me 5 years ago where I was trying to be something I wasn't.
That's it. Yeah. You got to be connecting with the people that are like-minded and like-hearted, the ones that, are your people. You want to find your tribe. John, I've heard you say this on multiple occasions. If you were in a new city and you were just getting started and you had to go out there and just reinvent yourself, I already know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to have you say it. What do you do, John?
Go find your tribe.
Yeah.
Find your tribes. Yeah. And the five thing rule, right?
Yeah. Well, for you, it's your rugby team. You're going to go find.
I totally missed the mark. 100%, by the way.
Right over the head, man.
I thought you were thinking. I've answered that question 2 different ways that you just said that, and I feel stupid now. Dude, I'm finding my rugby team because that's my immediate tribe, 100%. But that's my tribe. Find your tribe. But for me, my tribe is my rugby team. Yes, dude. Yeah, that's it.
And then you start building the relationships behind that. And over time, they introduce you to people because you're already like-minded, like-hearted. They know that their people are going to love who you are. And, you get out there and you start building these long-term, tangible relationships behind a brand that's honest. And you don't have to have people questioning, can I trust this person? 100% they can. And I want to leave at this because we're right at the tail end. I ran into a guy a few years ago. We were doing a lot of podcasting around the country. And, this particular individual is from up north, northeast, actually close to your neck of the woods. He was over in outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And he had not been a real estate agent very long. He had actually just gotten started in the business. But for about 2-3 years prior to doing that, he basically just jumped on and spoke from the heart about things that he didn't like and things that he loved. And he was just completely honest about it, right? Whether you liked his answer or you didn't like his answer, he just was completely honest about the things that he hated, the things that he loved. And that was literally his page. That's what it was representative of. Well, he had stumbled into real estate because he had some agents that said, man, you get so many followers. Could you help us with our social media? So he stepped into the arena and started talking to these agents. Well, the agents, shared with him the kind of commissions that they were making when they would fund a loan. And he was like, well, I'd love to make those kind of commissions. I'm already running your social media page. I wonder if I could become a realtor. Yeah, well, you could go out and get your license. You could certainly do it. Right. So he goes out and he gets his license. And here's the funniest part, John. He had no problem finding business because the moment that he started talking on his page about the fact that he was helping homeowners through real estate, he already had his audience of people that knew, liked, and trusted him because they knew how honest he was about the things that he had been saying online for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
The guy immediately became a top funder for his organization.
That's fantastic. That's a cool story.
It's a cool story, and that's how this works, right? If you just go out and you're open and honest about who you are, you're going to attract people that love you for who you are. And those are the kind of people we want to work with anyways, right? Yeah. Don't hide behind and become the person that you hate, because if you be that person, you're not going to love this industry. You're not going to love what you're doing. You're going to face burnout. John, you and I both know this, right? Yep. Show up as who you are, and you're going to build something that you love. So any closing words from you, John?
Man, it's so much more fun to lean into a brand, to actually brand yourself. Besides, it's just more fun. And a lot of us have been our old dogs, and it might be a new trick. Just get into it. It's fun.
Yeah, do it. Be yourself. Go out there and be silly. And if you're not silly, don't be silly.
Yeah. Be you. Be you.
Show up as you. So, guys, you can't ignore it. In 2026, we talked about, escape the middle or escape the cage. Effectively having a personal brand is your business card in 2026. And it's super important that you do that so that you can stay transparent, because the first thing people are going to do, whether it's an agent who's referring the client to you or a friend who's referring the client to you and they don't know you, they're going to go straight to your social media page. The websites are not as important as they once were, right? Getting to know who you are. And if they pop onto your page and they can feel like they know who you are and they can trust you right out of the starting gate, you're not going to be having conversations about why they should be going to another lender. They already know you. They like you. They trust you. They're going to be doing business with you. That's the real strategy in 2026. So
love it. Let's get started.
We're your mortgage giants. I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm John Hinks.
We will see you on the